Hey sightseers, Sightseeing Sally here. Marty and I are checking out part of Route 66 here in Baxter Springs, Kansas. We actually stumbled upon Route 66. We weren't really planning on hitting up Route 66 on this trip. Just so happened that the campground that we were staying at, or that I was looking at for us to stay at, happened to be in Baxter Springs, which happens to be on Route 66. So we thought, why not go check out some of the memorabilia, and we're over on the Rainbow Bridge, which is the last remaining marsh arch bridge on Route 66, and it's over Brush Creek, and you can walk over it. I'm not even sure if they allow you to drive over it. We didn't. We just parked off to the side and we're just walking over it, checking it out. You can see some of the old insignias yet still faded in the concrete, which is cool. And I don't know, just kind of neat that this used to be part of the mother road, the road that everybody wanted to travel on back in the day. So we're enjoying this iconic piece of Americana. Interestingly enough, stamped in the side of the bridge is this marker that says Federal Aid Project, Board of County Commissioners, and it has the names D.C. Eakin, Chairman, Will Earl, E.H., I think it's pronounced Schloman, and then H.W. Terrell, Engineer, County Engineer, 1923. That's when the bridge was constructed. Which normally you don't hear too much about the fact that this was federally funded on Route 66. Ooh, check out these old cars on Route 66. Can you imagine them driving along the road back in the day? Well, apparently Baxter Springs is home to several last of its kind bridges. This bridge here that you see behind me was brought over to this site back in like 1994, and it's the last of its kind here in Cherokee County. Here, I'm just gonna pan for you so you can see how big it is. It is really tiny. It's a tiny bridge. I think it's really cool that it's sitting here. Yeah, we were checking out Route 66 and got sidetracked by the Baxter Springs Museum. We saw the old caboose sitting there and the tank and thought, why not? Let's go check this out. And that's what we found. This old bridge. Pretty dang cool, huh? There's also this sign here that's commemorating the Black Dog Trail, which was opened in 1803 by Chief Black Dog and his band of Osage Indians who had a village nearby where the springs once flowed freely. So for all you beer lovers and brewery enthusiasts, here's something that's interesting about Baxter Springs, is that this location here used to be home to a brewery by the name of Zelikin. A man by that name built a brewery here back in 1870, so it was quite a long time ago. It was back when the cattle boom was going on. He made his money on beer here, and then abandoned the place when the cattle boom was gone and moved over to Joplin and made money off the mining. So that guy made a ton of money, and then the building here that was here eventually was demolished, so it's no longer standing here. It's just kind of an interesting point of history here in Baxter Springs, which kind of goes along with Route 66, you know, because I'm pretty sure anybody driving along Route 66 would appreciate a cold beverage on a hot summer day.
It's like a normal town museum, a whole bunch of junk people donated that have no specific old record player, stuff like that.
Well, Marty went inside the museum and he's giving me the rundown on it. And apparently there's not much on Route 66. And really, since that's why we're here in Baxter Springs, I'm gonna skip going on inside. It was just interesting to check out a few of the items they had on display out here. Check out that really cool signage on the Baxter State Bank building. There's even an old burglar alarm on the building. When was the last time you seen one of those? What's really cool about Baxter Springs is that there's all these little reminders of times gone by, things that you wouldn't expect to see. For example, the crosswalks, at the stop and go lights. You remember the old walk, don't walk signs? Well, they've got them here yet in operation. Now granted, when the walk sign comes on, you've got about 3 seconds to get across because the light goes out, but maybe that's their way of saving on electricity because they're not using LED bulbs. Who knows? But it's just really cool. It's just kind of like a blast from the past to see that here. There's also, of course, the old buildings that would have existed along Route 66. Like, for instance, this building here looks like it's probably a relic from the past of Route 66 days. And then you pan across here, you can see this building's been refurbished. It's now the visitor center for Route 66 here in Baxter Springs. And they've got some really cool old gas pumps that they've put in place. And then over here you've got an original building, Baxter Drug, which is now powered by Walgreens. It's reminiscent of what was here back in the day. Take a shot, look down the street, you can see all kinds of old buildings that would have been here when Route 66 was a popular route through this town. Here's a close-up look at these gas pumps. Back in the day when gasoline contained lead, doesn't anymore. I remember when I was growing up it was called regular. It was either regular or unleaded that you got, and now it's only unleaded or diesel or what's that stuff that they make special for some of them cars. I can't remember what they call it. It was that special fuel that they came out with, I don't know, was it maybe 10 years ago? I can't think of it. It's like a special blend and only certain newer vehicles are able to use it, and you don't find it at every gas station. It's something I've noticed. But anyways, if you know what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments section below. Here's another building that I suspect was in operation back when Route 66 was a major thoroughfare through Baxter Springs. Frank's Transmission's in there now. Based on the way the building is shaped, I suspect it's always been related to the auto trade. Please don't hurt me, Mr. Clown. I promise I'll be good. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of clowns. They kind of creep me out. Especially that one. That looks like an old historic Route 66 sign, probably original to this building, which used to house a soda fountain inside. Now it's, according to the sign on the door, a learning center and not open to the public. I apologize, the sun's on the wrong side of this building. The Ritz, which used to be an old theater, still works as a movie place to go see the movies. And what's even cooler is that their ticket prices are still relatively decent. I mean, $6.50 for an adult to see a movie. When was the last time you've seen a ticket price like that? And the fact that they only take cash. See what I mean about Baxter Springs just having these old reminders of things gone by, things that were probably better back in the day than they are now? I I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just a feeling of nostalgia that's overcome me by walking around this town, but I think it's really cool. That's an older looking sign. I wonder what era that would be from. Alright, we're back by Mr. Clown. There's a couple of things I wanted to show you real quick before we leave this area. This old light here reminds me of a place back where I'm from called the Coach Light, and they had lights like that out in front, and they had the orange flicker bulbs in them. And then this vending machine for cold drinks used to cost 75 cents to get a pop out of here, or soda, depending on what part of the country you come from. For me it was a soda, but for some of you I know you call it a pop or a Coke. I've heard that too before. But look what was in here. Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Sprite, Dr. Pepper, A&W, and some unknown beverage. Let me check out what appears to be the world's smallest Baptist church here in Baxter Springs. If you look over there, it says the attendance last Sunday was 11. As interesting as Route 66 is here in Baxter Springs, I wanted to take a cut down this side street because there are a couple of things that we spotted historically that I thought would be really cool to include in the video as well, just because, you know, as we're walking around some of these smaller towns, stuff you don't see every day. So, sharing that with you. Hold on, I'm gonna turn the camera around for you. If you look at the top of that building, it says undertaking, which leads me to believe that at one point there was a funeral parlor in this block of buildings. And what we're looking at here is the original City Hall building, which was established in 1926 and now houses the police department. And the last thing I wanted to share with you from Baxter Springs is this. Something that is quickly becoming a relic of the past. Do you remember being able to drive up and dropping your mail in a mailbox? I sure do. But it seems like ages ago since they had a mailbox like that in my hometown. I don't know. Is it going to be like 10, 15, 20 years from now when people look back on this, watch this video, and think to themselves, what the heck was even a post office, or what the heck was even a mailbox? I don't know. Kind of like kids today and looking at payphones and wondering what the heck those were used for. Something to ponder, I guess. If you enjoyed this vid, leave me a comment in the comment section below. Give me a thumbs up because, you know, they're for free. And, as always, until next time, this is Sightseeing Sally. Special thanks goes out to all our fellow sightseers here on Patreon and PayPal. Without you, these videos wouldn't be possible. Since we're getting all nostalgic here, something that reminds me of my childhood are pickled beets. My grandmother, back when I was a kid, made pickled beets. It was one of the things that she canned. And every time I eat pickled beets, I think of her. It just so happened that when we were down in Missouri, we stopped at like a flea market / antique store, or whatever you want to call it. One of them types of places where they got all kinds of junk. Okay, treasures to some. But somebody in their booth was selling pickled beets, and I had to get some. Oh, tonight I'm thinking of Grandma. Is this better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, tip the bowl down. Look at the color and look at the shirt. That's better.